All right, everybody. Welcome to the Domain Social for November 6th, I'm guessing. November 6th, everybody? Yes, November 6th,
No, November
2020.
6th.
And for those of you watching us, recorded version on YouTube, well, if you want to join us in the future, go to thedomainsocial.com. So thedomainsocial.com and subscribe there. For our socials, there's main one is Twitter. It's at thedomainsocial.com, but I also have Facebook, LinkedIn. While the video is there, this will be on the screen. I'm no longer showing it here because most people know what's going on. And on that note, yeah. So when you subscribe, I send out an email usually the day before, and then usually about within the last hour before the show. So it's at the top of your inbox, and you'll get the Zoom information, and you just click to join, and you'll join. And that's it. So that's the intro for this week. We're a little bit shorter, right? Anyhow, yeah. So what were we talking about? Welcome, everybody. So, well, yeah.
I was just going to say, it's based on our conversation we were just having about Dan versus Epik.
Yes.
Michael put out a real nice little graphic here showing that basically it looks like Dan gets more traffic, significant traffic, but Epik seems to have more retention out of it. So I just thought that was cool. Thanks, Michael.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't. I have last year I moved over a bunch of my domains to Epik when they had that $6 promotion for the transfers, and I get a lot of over this year I've got an increasingly number of offers, but I've also got an increasing number of spam offers too. So I think the underlying real offers are still there, but I think the number that increased was the spam. But again, if I'm getting offers, I don't care. I'll go through, some spam if it means getting to some legit leads, right? So what were you gonna say, Thomas?
Oh no, that was it. I was just saying it was interesting data, as far as the mileage you get out of the hits on Dan versus Epik and stuff.
Yeah.
Because we were talking about that before, right? About who's better for traffic and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't check the link that was posted, but Mike Sager's saying, visit duration Epik is probably driven by users of their registrar. Yeah. So I mean, that's always a good question of what's where's the best place to put your domains, right? I think for myself, historically, it's been Afternic, but that's because, it's where I had my stuff listed. And then I get a lot of stuff by just who is stuff. But what are you guys' experience? Where do you guys, for those of you who have your domains listed at multiple marketplaces, what's the order of inquiries, of serious inquiries, I guess I should say?
I discovered something new this week.
Yeah.
Most of mine are all at Dan. Mm-hmm. And I clicked into that new financing program where they take you out to 5 years of payments. What I overlooked was that you can't make an offer on a domain if you click on that option. So I went back to the classic version where we can just finance domains out to 12 months. I've had 6 different offers. 3 of them came today. And they're legitimate. I had a couple of $100, but I had one at $1,500, another at $2,000, and I'll probably close 2 of them.
Wow.
But it was because I went back to the classic version of Dan. I started seeing the offers again. It allows you to make an offer rather than just accept the buy it now price. So I will probably keep that going. I had the best August I've ever had. September and October were absolutely zero. And that's really what made me start to re-examine where I was putting my names. So for what it's worth.
You're talking about when you display that you have an install program?
I'm sorry?
You're talking about when you display an installment program right off the bat?
Yeah, they just came out with that new feature about 4 months ago where, you can do the slider and it'll take you out to 5 years of financing. I got a couple of deals off of that, but they don't. That doesn't allow you to make an offer less than your buy it now price if you choose to display your domains with that feature.
Really?
Yeah, that's
Wow.
what I just learned. So I went back to just the maximum 12 months, the classic version, and that allows the make an offer feature to come back up on every domain that I have. And again, for me, it's allowed me to get 6 different offers just in the past week.
Yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, I would have thought the default would have been to have all 3 there, right? A buy it now, a make
Yeah,
offer, and a payment plan, like and have the option, like your option, but so that option isn't there. That's interesting.
Yeah, you can't make an offer with the new one.
Hey,
So
Mike?
you have, yeah.
I was thinking that people could make an offer with the new one because at the top of the settings page, it says buying options, then it says domains with price, and it gives me 3 options: buy now and make offer, and make offer. And I, like you, want to be open to offers. And I'm going to go back and test some of my ones that I picked the B payment plan option, as opposed to what you call the old one, which is what I used to be on too, to see. But I wonder if in the your account on your settings where it says buying options, if you had just clicked, or maybe it automatically put you on buy now and not buy now and make offer.
I actually talked to somebody there and they told me you could not have make offer with the new version.
Yeah, and that's great stuff, because I was under the impression I could. So I'm going to go check a couple.
Yeah, you have to check the old model installments down at the bottom on your settings to get back to the old version.
But also it's the idea that even though you think you're clicking buy now and make offer, it's not registering. You know what I mean? Which would be counterintuitive.
Yeah, they have a cool little slider which allows you to set your own payments. But in doing that, I guess the coding doesn't allow you to also make an offer for a lesser amount than to buy it now and make your own payments in the same time.
I know. It just, because I clicked that make offer, I thought I could, but you're right. I'm looking at one of them now, and it.
I'm curious if they A/B tested that to see if that's deliberate or if it's just an oversight.
Well, what I shared with Reza was that they put they have too many goodies to only have 2 options. You know what I mean? The old way or the new way. With the new way, you have to take 6 different things, and with the old way, you have 5 different things. And obviously the domainer in us wants to mix and match. But thanks, Mike, for that.
Hey,
Yeah.
Paige, I asked them the same question, and they will not. If you're using the lease to own program, you cannot do the make offer. So I said, how can I do that? And they, just to let everybody know, they said make an additional account. So if you do want that on some of your domains, you can make a second Dan account. That's what they told me in chat.
Actually, what I did learn on that too is you can go into your domains one by one and click that new option if you choose to do that. From what I understand.
Actually, that's not entirely correct. You can turn off the new option, which will allow make offer. It will show the make offer, but they'll no longer have the financing option of the old way or the new way. So if your account, it's an account setting for whether you do old style payments or new style payments. And if you can click off payments on a per domain basis, but you can't specify the old style if your account is set to the new style.
Yeah, that's it, because the only button they have there is enable or disable for your how many months you want to pick, from 3 to 60 or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. I think we find out that actually by far the most flexible way to set that would be to use Epik landers. You can set the weight of the size of the initial payment, and then it goes with Sedo by default, and we can also list with Afternic. So I think it is better than Dan, apart, as we now discovered, that Dan has more traffic, as Michael just pointed out. by itself.
Frank, I remember you bringing that up, and I actually went to my Epik page and tried to look at the marketplace to enact what you're saying on one domain, and it looked really confusing to me. The great thing about Dan is it's so much simpler, but there's not a spot that you can put an initial 20% hit for your first payment or 30% or whatever.
It is like Apple. It is like Apple versus Windows or even Linux. And Rob Monster, he did us quite a thorough walkthrough of how to do a few weeks just in detail. So it's got so many options and settings. And I think we've got don't we have the recording?
No, unfortunately, I'd stopped recording before he got. Actually, I was supposed to end the show early that day, and I think he went on for a couple hours. But yeah, I mean,
but he gave a link. Remember, he gave a link of their own native tutorial video for that.
Oh, that's possible. I have a bunch of domains there, and I'll be the first to admit it's when I first look at it, it was not
confusing.
It was not simple, and I usually when it tinkers and figures things out, but once you figure it out, there you have a lot of options. Like the payment plan you could fix to whatever you want. You could make it top heavy, bottom heavy. You can make it lease or rent or turn whatever you want on or off. Again, it's not perfect the way they have it set up. I wish they would, take a day with some people and just clean it up and make it not necessarily simpler, but a little bit easier to grasp, because there's some things that it's not super clear. But again, the options are there. Like if you want to do something, the options are there. And the same thing with I think with if you're going to do a sale, also with escrow.com, it's worth mentioning that you go to their site and it looks pretty rigid in what you can do. But if you reach out to them, they're known to be pretty flexible. If you want to change your payments at different amounts at different times, that's stuff you can do there too.
Okay, so if you set out the escrow or the payments,
I mean, like escrow.com, I'm not a big fan of them unless you're using their concierge service, because it's like there's a big loophole. But I mean, they are pretty reliable, right? I mean, even the loophole is there, and I don't consider it to be true escrow unless you're using their concierge service. It's still, they're pretty reliable, right? So, and they do have the ability to cater to whatever you want. Like you reach out to them and you say, I want to change this to payment plan and like this, like that, they can do it. And it's similar too. Like I'm sure, look, say what you want about Rob. A lot of you guys like him, a lot of you guys hate him. But if you reach out to Epik, I'm sure they could figure something out in the back end. I don't know. I mean,
exactly.
At Dan, they seem super domainer friendly. I don't know how flexible their platform is to cater to sort of specific individual requests.
I think that is the biggest difference, RF, is I think Dan, rightly so, wants to go after scale and become systemized and trust the process on everything. Trust the process. They don't want variance. And I think Rob's willing to even personally get involved with an offer or something and take an overall picture of understanding the buyer, taking a glance at the seller, trying to think how can he, make a transaction, you know what I mean? Which I think is what we used to think a company like Afternic or Sedo would do. But I think we've kind of lost faith in, as domain owners, in their ability to do that.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because I got an offer from I won't say the domain yet because it's not closed. But I got an offer. I think it was my days are all mixed up now because I've been up nights and stuff like that, walking Stimulate. But within the last 36 hours, I got an offer from via Afternic, but through their network. And so, knowing that it was through their network, and not directly on Afternic, the domain was listed at 4,500, and the offer came in at 3K. And see, usually if I knew they had direct contact with the buyer, I would say, yeah, I'm going to negotiate it up a bit and meet in between. But knowing that it was through their sort of network, so it was through another registrar. So it means the potential end user contacted another registrar who contacted Afternic, who reached out to me, asking me if I would accept the 3K. And knowing how complicated that was, I go, well, what do I do? Do I try and push it up to 4K and risk losing the sale because knowing Afternic sometimes is slow to correspond and not knowing how efficient the other registrars correspond? And so I just said yes. I said, you know what? It's not worth the risk reward just isn't there. And I go, you know what? Yeah. And that's from knowing the email said through their network. And the moment I saw it, I picked up the phone, I called, I go, is it Afternic or is it through another registrar? And the person I talked to seemed surprised I would ask such a question. But to me, it's crucial because it means there's another person, meaning somebody at the other registrar who's another point of communication, meaning that, that the end buyer might not even get my counter offer until middle of next week, in which case, they might have moved on to another domain.
Exactly.
So it's just, sometimes it's that personalization, that personal touch you want. And when with Afternic, sometimes they're not always the fastest to cater to your specific needs. Who knows? But Paige, as you're saying with Epik, like them or hate them, whatever you want. But if you reach out to them, usually they'll get back to you pretty quick, which is a plus.
There's no need to hate them. I think they are actually.
Well,
very
I'm
good.
just saying. I'm saying like we're not. Everyone's talked politics this week, and like saying you love them or hate them for other reasons. It's fine. I didn't want to get into that discussion, but yeah, I'm just saying like I had all my domains there from prior to all the other stuff that happened, and so my stuff is there by default, and it's just so the options are there with Epik. Unlike most of us I think have domains at GoDaddy, and with GoDaddy, like it is what it is. As you're saying with as Paige said at Dan, I think they're going for scale, so oftentimes with scale you lose flexibility. But
quantity or quality.
Yeah, well, I mean, ideally you want both, right? But that's not the reality. The reality of the situation is once you get to a certain size, it's harder to get into the details and vice versa, But how about the rest of you? Any of you with multiple marketplaces that you're using enough to compare volumes?
Well, what I was going to say, RF, is I don't know where Mike's stats came from, the assumptions, but
similarweb.com.
Right. So would he, in my opinion, he's not comparing marketplaces. He's comparing the bulk number of landing pages on each, plus visits to the regular website, epik.com or dan.com.
Yeah, here you just said he's looking at traffic only.
Right. So the way I value a marketplace is how many customers do you give me without my landing page?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where we only have anecdotal evidence, I believe, of what you feel happens.
Yeah. I think we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah. You were saying, yeah.
It probably depends on your portfolio too, the quality, the type of names that you have. I mean, I would think that I don't know what type of people, but the people that go to Afternic or find out about Afternic could be different people than those who find out about Dan. So it might depend on just what you're selling too.
Right now, for me, if I take out landing page visits and I had to rank where I get my sales, it's no surprise, Afternic, direct DLS or fast transfer. I don't have my lander at Afternic, and I get a message saying your name just sold at Afternic. So that's obviously because of the registrar channels.
Yeah.
And then if I had to put number 2, I wouldn't put Sedo, I wouldn't put Uniregistry, I wouldn't put Epik, I wouldn't put Dan. I would put GoDaddy buyer service, where I get a mail that says, we have a buyer interested in your name. Yeah. Would you like to entertain negotiations? You know what I mean? And you wonder, well, yeah, it's at Afternic. Why didn't you know that? But I would say that's my number 2. And then it would be a long way down till I could actually think of sales I got from Dan where I didn't have my lander. you know, but just because I uploaded my list of names to Dan, I somehow got an inquiry, and that's probably been maybe one sale a year. And Sedo's about, well, Sedo I guess would be a little better. It'd be 2 sales a year, and maybe Uniregistry 2 sales a year. So that would be my rankings.
Yeah, Sedo for me has been progressively going downwards over the last 3 years. I think it was. This year, I don't think I've had a single sale from Sedo. But
I
last year I had a couple, and the year before I had even more than that. So, what were you saying, Thomas?
I said I literally forget about them. I'm like, oh yes.
Yeah, but no, they're. I mean, look, I mean, we got to eke out as many potential sort of eyeballs as we can, and Sedo, they get eyeballs. I mean, Afternic and their network is number one. Behind them, it probably still is Sedo. No.
Yeah.
So I mean, say what you want about Sedo, and but
GoDaddy passed them.
Did they? Yeah, it's I kind of forget. I keep on thinking GoDaddy and Afternic, and that's the thing too. Like I don't get Afternic as a website for people to buy stuff. I mean, I understand their network; it's good, and that's where I think most of their sales come from. But I just, as their website just doesn't seem like too, you know, doesn't seem like a marketplace to me. It just seems more like.
And I think they would agree with you. I think it is a fact that they would say we don't sell names on our website. They would say that.
Yeah. So but apparently, was it Frank? I think you said, I can't remember, it was last week or within the last few weeks, you mentioned something. I was asking what the ratio is of sales directly on Afternic versus their network. And were you saying it was 70% Afternic? No, 70% their network and 30% Afternic?
No, I think that was the difference between the general and the premium listings.
Oh, okay.
Remember, in one case, I think they kind of claimed that they get 30 million eyeballs, and with the other 70, whichever the time frame is. But
sorry, I missed
gives a ratio.
Everything okay?
Sorry?
No, it's Thomas. I'm gonna put a mute. Oh, he's got a call. There we go. Yeah.
Arif, I know we kind of passed it by a little bit, but the one thing I want to point out is when you go to depending on your settings in your Dan account,
yeah,
there is a chat that shows up at the bottom of the screen, and I have had offers under even though I use the lease to own program, which doesn't show make offer, I have gotten offers in that came through the chat. So the chat will go to a Dan rep, who will then in turn start a transaction in your and relay the offer, which to me is not that far off than from sorry, I had somebody in my front yard and there's never anybody in my front yard.
It's all good. Don't worry about it.
So with the GoDaddy, you know, if you type in a name at GoDaddy in the registration path, even if there's a make offer, it's not obvious there. They have to click on and I just had it up. They have to call for buying assistance, and then they might be allowed to make an offer. So, I mean, one of the things I've always wanted was a Afternic or a GoDaddy. I mean, ideally GoDaddy branded, but I think that that would cause some ripples with the partner registrars.
Yeah.
But a GoDaddy branded make offer lander, and there's ways to finagle that, but it winds up being like an auction page, and I haven't figured out a way to do it at a DNS level. Now that I'm parking names at ParkLogic and I can put in wildcards into the link, I might try that. I think I might be able to backwards engineer the URL to get the sales link for a park name to show the GoDaddy branded page that has the make offer option on it. But that's just, you know, one of many things on my list of to-dos.
Okay.
Yeah. I got one of those lists too.
Jason, I have a question. With the Dan, the classic payment plan, the original payment plan, is it possible to have chat enabled with that?
The chat is not, I don't think the chat setting is related to the to the which of the types of payment plans you choose. I have to turn to look, but
Just like a broad, it's just a broad Dan help.
Had it.
Is that it?
I had the chat turned on, but then I switched to the new, payment plan, lease to own, and then when I switched back to the original payment plan, it looks like the chat's no longer there.
If you go with the, I'm trying to say, it's in an odd place. And all right, so here it is. It's host your for sale pages on Dan.com, and it's a checkbox, and it says redirect your buyers to your internal marketplace for sale pages. It says by enabling this feature, all traffic on your domains will be forwarded to sale pages hosted on blah blah blah. It says, but then it says when you don't opt in for this feature, your buyers won't see our live support widget on your for sale pages. So I think you need to check that, and it's in settings and under for sale page. And it's pretty close to the bottom, not all the way. It's right above your where you input your Google tracking ID. And I have that checked, and I see that. So my presumption is that if that's unchecked, obviously the support chat would not show up, and then they wouldn't be able to have that path to make an offer.
Okay, it's unusual because I do have it checked. Redirect your buyers to the internal marketplace for sale landers. I'll check another, and I have BOTUS enabled. I don't know if that would make a difference.
Oh, and I do not. So that could be the that could be the difference.
Okay, I'll reach out to tech support, see if they can assist me.
Oh, yeah,
with.
because it would be with BOTUS, it would be a parking page. So, yeah.
Yeah,
It might be a little too confusing to have the others to have a chat on a parking page.
Yeah,
But
I didn't
think
realize
reason,
one or the other.
the other reason I think I didn't check host your sale pages on Dan is I felt like that may open up my buyer to browse the entire Dan marketplace, as opposed to just being able to maybe look at sellers' other names, but not necessarily the whole world of available names from Dan. Did anyone else feel that?
Where's that selection at? Well, how do we control that page?
So what we're talking about was the ability to have chat, which may, even if you have the super accelerator payments, so you could have up to 1 year payments under the old method, but if you want the 5 year with the additional interest and the super whammy new accelerator, Mike identified that it's hard for buyers to make offer, so you don't have as much engagement. You don't find out the guy who might not want to pay $4,000, but he'll pay $2,000.
Sure.
So this question became, by having the chat on your pages, even if you have the accelerator, it gives someone a way to go through the Dan staff to say, I'm interested, will they take an offer or something like that? I think that's where we got to.
Mm-hmm.
What I said was, if the only way to do that is to redirect my landers to Dan.com, that was opening up the whole Dan marketplace to my buyer, and I didn't know if I wanted that.
I agree. So how do we turn that off so they cannot go to the whole Dan marketplace?
It's the default, and it says host your sale pages at Dan under settings, like it was said, right above analytics, and you simply don't check it, which I believe is the default. I'm looking at it right now. And don't forget to hit save.
Yeah.
Oh, so we click redirect your buyers to your internal marketplace for sale pages. Is that correct?
That's a good question. I was thinking if I don't click it, it would default to that.
Oh, if you don't click it.
Okay, this is crazy. You're right. If you click the box that says redirect your buyers to your internal marketplace, if you do that, they'll be forwarded to for sale pages hosted on Dan. That's weird that clicking to go to your internal marketplace makes it for sale pages hosted on Dan. So I was wrong. I guess I'm okay with that.
So we do not want to click that. Is that correct?
Well, I don't know. I just clicked it. Let's see how long it takes.
Just to
Then
add
we
some,
have this concept of there's so many A/B switches on Dan. If you've enabled bonus parking, that overrides what you're doing here, apparently.
It does. It does. But you can also go into your portfolio and you can click individual names that you can set for bonus parking, or you can go to the bottom of your settings and say that I only want bonus parking on the domains that have a certain traffic. I think mine is set to 100 clicks before bonus parking will kick in. Everything else just shows a generic for sale page. But I think you're going to get Dan's portfolio to be able to search through it, whether you like it or not, no matter what you click.
just
Yeah,
to add
and-
some information to the original question, I had the new installments checked on all my names at Dan, and I didn't have the box checked to visit my marketplace, but I still got the chat box with an interested party last week. So the chat box is there. I don't know how you enable it or disable it, but I did get the chat box.
That is great stuff. Let me ask you one more question. Do you do the bonus or not the bonus?
Not the bonus.
Right. So not
That's
the bonus.
not bonus, not the chat box to my marketplace. And I had the new installment plan, and I got the chat function.
Okay, so I had just changed the settings on my Dan account to only show, bonus only for pages with visits of more than 25 visits per month. And on those pages, the chat box does not appear, but on the other pages with less than 25 visitors per month where bonus is not enabled, then the chat box does appear. So it looks like is a conflict, I guess. You can have one or the other.
So do we think that they recently added that only show parking if it's above a certain amount? I don't think I saw that when I first enabled bonus.
Yeah, that's been there the whole time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Going back to the original payment plan versus the new payment plan, what I'd like to see is the new payment plan with a make offer button.
Correct. And that's why, listening to Mike's comments earlier, I've actually just gone through my portfolio now and put it all back to the old lander or the old option, because it's handy to have that make offer on there. I agree.
I will tell you, when I interviewed Reza for the domain show, he said that they had done a lot of testing on that. And he felt, if he could be so bold, in one case you want to say, give everybody the option to do what they want. But he did feel some strength to the benefits of nudging the person to make a decision and not giving him so many options might give you a sale because you're asking the buyer to act. And that was their thinking when they had done their testing, was that it was better when you're talking about the $100 a month or the $200 a month, that shouldn't be so much of a barrier that the person should click it. Now, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but that was his response.
It should be up to the domain investor to decide what they think is best for them. I'd like to see a button where you can use the what they could do is to appease everybody is, have the new payment plan, have a button. Do you want to show the make offer button?
No, I hear you. I agree.
What's better for Dan? Which option? It's the new option, isn't it? It generates more revenue.
True. Mm-hmm.
So I think I got this figured out. I have a domain v-r, so v-r.tv. Please don't laugh. I actually own it. And I did what the last person suggested, only show bonus if it's above 25 a month. So right now it's not, surprisingly. I get my buy domain. I get the old style monthly payments. I get the little chat box on the small right. And so I think that's going to be my recommended course of action, because the only thing I don't have is the 5-year payment plan. But I still can offer 1-year payment plans, which seems like that's good enough to be able to gain the make offer. What do you guys think?
You know, sometimes it's probably not even worth it for some of like escrow.com. They charge a lot of fees every like year or something, or every 2 years for 5-year plans. Their fees are kind of heavy. And sometimes it's just not worth it for these guys to go through every, for $100 a month or $200 a month. I mean, I know that from experience with escrow, but because the guy's still making payments to me. But the thing about it is that it may not even be worth it for them.
I moved 2,000 or 3,000 names to Dan to get the new Wowie Zowie payment plan with the 50 months, 60 a month, 80 a month. And I only sold one name. So I kind of feel because we're coming from no installments being offered, the 12 should be enough for most people. Like on a $5,000 name, it takes it from 5,000 down to 400 to get started. So I like Mike Gaffney's suggestion, to get the benefits of the make offer, you can still offer installments. And then if someone really wants to say, do you want more than 2 years, do the little chat box. So it feels pretty good.
It sure feels better to go fishing and get some nibbles than just to sit all day in the hot sun.
Yeah, Paige, I will say that I've got the one of my portfolios is on the old style, and one is in my personal, which is about 3 times the size of the other one, is on the sales accelerator, lease to own. And the sales have dropped considerably on the other one. It's hard to say whether it's chopped in a third because of the size. But I don't know. I mean, I kind of, I'm reading the chat, and Mike Seiger mentioned that Huge Domains has been 12-month and no make offer option. And, obviously they're either profitable or you would think so, as big as they are and as much as they continue to buy. So I don't know. There's just a lot of room to play around with it. And because, we always say this, domains, everyone's different. You can't be sure that, a test is really giving you what you think it's telling you if you try 2 different things. So.
And then I'm thinking about moving my 5-year payment ones to Epik. So at least I can do a 30% down.
Yeah.
So at least get on a $4,000 name, at least get a $700-800 kiss, and then let somebody pay $60 a month, but not start it with $60 a month, to tie it up.
Yeah,
which as a buyer, I love, but as a seller,
yeah, that surprises me that Dan doesn't have that option. Like, I mean, I would never do a payment plan when the first payment's like $50, because I don't know.
Well, unless like I did, I doubled on my prices. So I said, well,
yeah,
if I'm going to offer that, I'm going to double everything.
Yeah,
maybe a lot fails because there's still sticker shock from everything being higher. Yeah. So that's what I got to figure out.
And with Dan, is it you set one price and the payment plan is derived from that, or is it like it's at Epik where you can have like one buy it now price, and let's say your buy it now price was $3,000, but you could set it up that the payment plan would be like, like 12 payments of $300, so the total would be a different amount, it'd be $3,600, or how is it at Dan?
Well, at Dan, they start charging interest after 12 or 24 months. I can't remember. I think it's 20.
Oh yeah, I think it was 12 months. They don't, and then anything beyond that they do. I think.
From memory, but yeah. And so, but the payment, and Ryan had mentioned before that he thought that maybe the fact that the make offer was removed from the sales accelerator had to do with the fact that you didn't want to negotiate the price and then have them opt in for payments. So it kind of, I mean, I definitely can see that. Although I think that on the old method, I think it's either make offer or payments. And if you go down the make offer path, it would require a manual intervention for them to switch that over. And I don't think that they like to do that. I think they'll do it, but it's I can't remember an instance where that happened.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I have a question. Does anyone besides, us, like people who are into domains, general public, would they trust Dan to use as escrow? on big numbers, especially. Maybe $50, $60 a month is nothing, but like on $1,000 a month, 2,000. Would anyone really trust Dan over, you know?
I don't know. Like, I mean, the only registrar I would think I'd ever heard of as a non-domainer would be GoDaddy. Like, I'm sure if I went out and asked,
that's why I'm asking about Dan, because
if I asked 100
GoDaddy, you
people
know,
to name me all the registrars they knew, I'm sure there wouldn't be more than 3 that would name anything other than GoDaddy. Like just random people on the street.
That's what I'm wondering. Would would anyone even think about it, having an escrow? I'm talking about a regular consumer come into your domain name and say, oh, okay, I'll make $50 or $100 a month through Dan. But then if it's like $1,000 or $500 a month or $200 a month, that may be a little different. So that kind of takes away from that. Maybe take away from that end of it to make it easy on the consumer. That's all I'm asking. I mean, if you guys had any experience.
If an independent person wanted to check out Dan, Trustpilot is the thing that pops up first. And they do have 2,000 reviews with 88% at the top level. And on the ones that are at the bottom level, bad, they do have responses to try to engage. So they paint an okay picture, I think, to an independent person who trusts the internet to, you know, monitor itself, so to speak. So it's not bad.
And I will say, and you know, that from a standpoint of, I've had a couple of really big sales, like mid 5-figure sales, go through Dan, and nobody I was ever dealing with. Now these were straight sales, not payments, but still, I mean, you're getting ready to wire, you know, 30,000 plus somewhere. It takes a certain amount of trust. We never got any pushback on that. So
yeah, payments, I would assume that would be a little different, but I'm assuming that they would really check it out because they're really interested in the domain name.
right.
But yeah, but that's a lot of money. But so that means, yeah, Dan does have a reputation then.
And it looks like some of the negative reviews are just people that are upset that the domain name costs so much. You know, they have the name of my company. You know, they're not necessarily complaints about Dan, but just domainers in general, so to speak, that a name was listed on Dan that I used to own. I can't believe they're asking this much money or something.
Yeah. Huh.
Interesting. I've never looked at this before.
I'd like to mention something.
Go for it, Vito.
About the Jason Shepard brought up a good point, and I think we've all said this. We all want a GoDaddy make offer landing page.
Yeah.
I was searching some domains today, and it just kicked my memory back into Uniregistry. You know, if you put, I've had my domains there, a bunch of my TVs there, and I've been brokering them myself. So all I get is the Uni logo. But if you have the Uni brokers broker the name for you, then you get the GoDaddy branding. So that's the only place online today that if you do want the GoDaddy branding, you can have a make offer page.
Yeah.
It's better than nothing, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how much longer it seems like it's gonna be there. I don't think they have any intention of removing it right with the merger. Just
Yeah, I got a quick comment on Vito's comment. If you've been around for a while and you started with Uniregistry when the name servers were buyinternettraffic.com and sellinternettraffic.com, I don't think those work anymore. So I ran a domain IQ thing just to see if there was any old time registrars that I hadn't moved, but I don't think those work anymore.
Yeah, I guess might start being deprecating certain services. Yeah, it was funny. I remember once I saw a Uniregistry lander. It was a domain I was just checking out. It was Uniregistry lander, but the link on top, like, you know, contact us to buy it. It went to a Afternic page. I thought it was pretty pretty weird.
What's that?
I once saw a Uniregistry lander, a domain on Uniregistry lander, and on the top there was like I forget what it says on top. It's like contact, click here to contact or to make an offer or something like that. And that went to Afternic, went to a page in Afternic.
That probably meant that it wasn't in a Uniregistry account. So I bet you they sent it to Afternic. What do you guys think?
Maybe. Yeah. Also, it was just listed at Uniregistry by the domain owner.
Or the name servers were going there, but it didn't have an account to put it in.
Yeah.
But doesn't Epik have the best landing pages?
Who?
Epik.
By far.
Yeah, I think that makes a huge difference.
What makes them the best?
Well,
The
just the
options,
background.
the tunability, the background, there's a lot. If you want, I'll dig up the video that Rob posted. I'm so sorry we didn't get that recorded because he did a walkthrough, a personal one. But
No, I was asking for your guys' opinions. I know what he'll say, but yeah.
No, it's just like their incredible background. I've never seen anything like it. Compare that to Sedo. Compare that to what's it called? Afternic. Compare that
to Dan.
They have a great one. I mean, and I mean, I don't know. You know, but
Plus, they put you in touch with the person inquiring if they've got the info, and there was something else just slipped my mind.
Yeah,
you can add counters. You can add the widgets to get all the traffic stats.
I just tested one of my Uniregistry landers, and it's not secure.
Mm-hmm.
That's a bummer.
I came in. I had to step away for a minute, and I came in late. But I can tell you that Joelle's name, Zesty Springs, is on a Epik lander, and it is secured. So I don't know what the settings are that have allowed that, but at least you do have the ability to have a HTTPS lander at Epik for sure.
Yeah,
so.
I think they added that last year, or within like almost a year ago. At first it was a little bit of an issue, but yeah.
And they're just automatically made secure, the landers.
Yeah, because I think Epik bought a company that had that kind of stuff, that technology, and they absorbed it and they added it. No, there's a lot of good stuff there. I'm trying to think where else. Like, I mean, you'd think by now GoDaddy would be offering the same things, right? And they just don't. It just boggles my mind.
Does anyone know? I have only one app domain, so it hasn't come up much. But there must be some landers that those won't work with because of the secure. Like they each need to have a certificate for them to resolve.
Oh, yeah.
I have mine at Pork Bun, and it does work there.
I think they work at Dan because Dan's CEO is heavily into .app.
Okay.
But I used a custom solution that a guy advertised on NamePros when I got my apps, but I let most of them go. But I think Dan was secure for that, counted as secure, but I don't know if you had to modify any of the settings or something.
One of the things I've found at Afternic and Uniregistry is that they have a very strong perimeter defense for their landing pages, which means they have a very aggressive block list based on IP addresses. And I use a VPN, and my VPN addresses are often blocked. They block me from my landers at Afternic and Uni. And I imagine a lot of people coming from China are using VPNs as well. And I wonder how much that's cutting into the sales at Uni and Afternic. I've talked to them about it, and because initially I thought the landers weren't working, and then I realized it was my VPN that was using a bad IP address, but I wonder how much that's cutting into their revenue, or our revenue.
Yeah.
I think that's great info. I think I've always been bummed that I don't know what I don't know when it comes to landing page traffic I'm not getting, because unless you literally test all your landing pages to see what happens. And I don't know if you can do that with a script or something. Does anyone do that? Or like is this site down or any of that stuff for all their pages?
I think this would be a question for Meredith. I'm pretty sure she might have a script for that.
I feel like Jothan would say, you know, that company that he mentioned that had the DNS, Cloudflare, whatever. But he would probably have a good answer too. I'll have to save that for when he's back.
Another problem I have with Uni is that their statistics, their smallest unit of measurement is a week. And so if you're getting a lot of traffic, a spike in just a day or two from an interested buyer, it can be confusing because you might think, well, the traffic has been like at a positive, at a steady level at like this for the last month or something like that. They don't show you that you've got a spike. And so it's difficult for me to respond to price requests on Uni because I can't filter out the spike from the baseline traffic. You can do that on Sedo, but you can't do it on Afternic or Uni.
Yeah.
A lot going on, man. I thought this business was supposed to be easy. Just buy them, list them, and sell them. You don't even have to list them. You're supposed to be able to buy them, and then people come knocking at your door and they buy them from you.
Well, that's what happened to me most of my domaining stuff. More and more, I'm starting to get my domains up, but
I'm going back to online poker.
Yeah, is that still a thing? I don't know. I have a few good poker names. But yeah, but speaking of IPs that are blocked, Jason, didn't that happen to you at Dan recently? I remember.
Yeah, no, I did, and they cleared it up. I got a hold of somebody in chat. Can't remember who, Simon or Laszlo, one of those guys, and they said that it shouldn't have happened. And by the time they responded, it had cleared up.
Okay.
I sent them a chat before I went to bed because I'd experienced it over the course of a couple hours. You know, a small outage is one thing, but if it kept on going, it was persistent for a number of hours or a portion of the day. And I told him, I was like, I can use a VPN and see it, but when I try and reach it out to it, you know, go to a landing page or even the back end from my home IP, which is on a Spectrum cable broadband in good old North Carolina, that it was being blocked. And so they said that was that it shouldn't be like that, and that they turned it over to the engineers, and they never reported back to me specifics of why it happened. It has not repeated itself, and so I consider it to be a closed issue. But I mean, you know, it's kind of like Paige was saying. I mean, how much of the world can't see my landers at any given moment?
Yeah.
Sorry, which registrar was it that was blocking for safety reasons?
For Jason, it was Dan. I think it was. It was Dan.
Yeah, it wasn't a particular registrar. It was Dan Marketplace.
Dan Marketplace, yeah. Okay.
So, I mean, I guess if you want total control, you gotta build your own landers and put it on Cloudflare or something. I mean,
if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Field of dreams, baby.
Is that domain free?
And then you get a DDoS attack and they hack your WordPress and everything's down, and you're like, I'm going back to Lander.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, I can't imagine using WordPress for that. I have enough problems with WordPress just trying to keep sites running, a couple sites running.
But the people who do that, like every now and then, I look for a domain. It's like, oh no, it's taken by some, and they have like this marketplace or whatever it is, and it's just like, it's not FD, it's not, you know, it's not one of the common marketplaces. It's just look at the bottom, it's like a little product they made themselves, or they, you know, something they customize, like a WordPress plugin or something like that. It's like, yeah, okay, you know, it's in fairness, some of them look decent, you know. Yeah. Oh, what was it Dave mentioned before that landing pages he thinks are nice are FDs, actually, speaking of FD. Yeah. Does anybody here use FD at all? Or if people kind of migrated a little bit away from them?
I do for their VCs and their realties, just because I figure I bought them there. I keep them there, sell them there, and just watch the money flow in, baby.
Okay.
FD. Are you talking Epik or FD?
FD.
FT.
Oh, FD?
Yeah, for
Oh, I'm
landers.
sorry. I just got a little verp in my mouth when you mentioned that.
Yeah,
I use FD.
Yeah.
FT.
Yeah, I mean, it always says having more features.
I can't get my FD pages to work.
Yeah, there's little quirks with FD for sure, but I've definitely sold names with them as well. It's interesting. You have PayPal set up, for example, and people will just, it's almost kind of surprising that they actually do go through it and pay for it. And you see this PayPal thing come over, and then you have to contact them and transfer the name. Occasionally it's a mistake.
Are your pages secure with FD? That's what I couldn't figure out is.
Yeah, yeah, that's where it's kind of an issue. It's problematic. I mean, I like aspects of it, but.
There is one that I was considering called, can everybody hear me? Called Domain Market Pro. Does anybody have any familiarity with that?
Yes, I do. I liked it.
Yeah?
I've got it.
Good, good. I tried a trial week and couldn't
use
get
it.
my site up, but I think I'll give them another chance.
I use them.
Good.
I don't often pay attention to the data. I'm kind of more like a touchy-feely kind of person. Seems like a good idea. I'll change prices or look at this or look at that. But there's a link here of an image that I took from a scrape of my Epik site. They actually do show you some things like parking visits and whois lookups and market visits under a performance tab for Epik domain names. Now, some of those are parked with Epik, and I blocked out the names. Some of those are parked with Epik, but not registered with Epik, so it might show 0 whois lookups. But you can click those numbers and see like IP addresses of recent lookups, and that's kind of interesting, at least. And if you're into data, you probably go to town with that.
I'm trying to get all my data together from all my stuff, and I'm slowly getting there. And even I'm trying to import all my old, even parking data and stuff like that. It's just not always easy to find or to download and extract and organize.
The data I like on Sedo is national origin, because I used to get a lot of traffic from northern Kenya and Somalia on some of my domains, and that traffic is worthless. No one will buy ads for that traffic. So it's really misleading if you just look at the bulk numbers and not where the origin is. Likewise, I might be getting a lot of traffic from China on a particular domain, and I don't always factor that into, is this domain valuable or not? And I don't know of anybody else that has that type of national origin data. It's not downloadable though, unless you make screenshots. And so I spent a lot of time making screenshots and preserving it, because the data can change. Some of it's just inexplicable. Like I have magicganja.com, and it was getting a lot of traffic from Korea, and I have no idea why Korea would be sending traffic to magicganja.com. But some of their other uses of the traffic origin is very useful, particularly if you're getting traffic on a non-English domain, but not from the country that you would expect. For example, a German domain doesn't, a lot of times their traffic is mostly from the United States, or at least 50% of it. And I don't know if that makes those domains very more valuable, but I think it probably makes it less valuable unless it's getting traffic from
Anthony.
what I expected.
Sometimes, with a caveat to that, though, sometimes people are using a virtual private server, so you don't necessarily know where they're coming from.
Anthony, was that magic ganja?
Yeah, it's Kate Buckley's got it now. I mean,
Yeah, right.
she's not doesn't own it, but it's at her lander along with the
Okay.
other ganja domains. Yeah, it's the only ganja domain.
Your ganja domains?
No, that's them. Those other ganja domains are from other people.
Wow.
You know, she had a special, and so you can see what she's got in terms of a cannabis inventory. And I think she's doing some marketing outreach to kind of market the whole kit and caboodle, just to see, like the banana game where you throw the banana up on the ceiling and see how much of it sticks.
That's interesting.
I know, Kevin, you've got some ganja domains too, and I'm a little jealous.
I didn't know she would. I didn't know that would be at the threshold she would broker. I thought she only touches like almost 6-figure domains. What was the domain again? Magic
Ganja. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to say that's a bad domain at all. It's a decent domain.
It's a mediocre domain.
But it's not a. I wouldn't expect that to be a Kate Buckley domain. I mean, what do I have? I have Gold Ganja, which I like the ring to it, and but I mean, I would never have dreamed of. But maybe there is demand for it. Like maybe that's the whole thing with domains, eh? Sometimes there's stuff we just don't know, and maybe we have domains that are worth a heck of a lot more than we think. And it's just
maybe you've never really had magic ganja.
Anthony, did you how did you end up over there? I mean, just she asked you to submit it, you just decided to? What the
She did an open call on Twitter and said, does anyone have any cannabis domains? And I gave it to her and she rejected it a couple times, and then I think one of her people who she works with liked it, and that's what got it in. I don't think it was her decision. She wasn't initially attracted to it. But you look at some of the other domains. I haven't seen her batch in a couple months, but some of the other ones weren't really ganja related, and so it's taken her a while to build up some inventory. But it wouldn't hurt, I think, if you just reached out to her and showed her your ganja domains.
Yeah, I may do that.
I didn't even know she had an inventory. I thought she just worked on like on a 1-by-1 more or less basis, unless it was a portfolio that made sense. But
well, the more you know.
Yeah.
I found having a G instead of a J was a real detriment to my ganja domain.
Figured that out, huh?
Yeah.
But no, but it
looked close. It looked
yeah,
close.
There you go. Yeah.
You mean 2 J's?
Ganja, yeah. So
yeah.
I had a little domain stank on that one.
Well, now I think Drew Rosner keeps talking about how the next wave is going to be psilocybin, and Oregon just legalized it. So
yeah, they did.
Go there, yeah.
Actually,
there's a big thread on Name Pros about that. They've been going at that stuff for a while.
What's the abbreviation? They can't try to spell out that whole name, can they?
Sure you can. Go for it.
Shrooms.
Yeah, Denver just legalized it too. Not all of Colorado, but just Denver.
Really?
Yeah,
Yep.
so they could do research on it. That's the motivation. I forget where they're doing research, which university, or if it's something else. But yes, Denver, you can legally grow and use.
Huh.
Is that research with air quotes, or is it?
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know who got it through, but bless them.
There's a lot of people going into psychedelics right now that are looking into legalizing it in a lot of places.
Ann Arbor, Michigan is another city that
That's what it was, yeah.
criminalized it. And it started in May 2019. I think it was either Oakland, California or Santa Cruz, California. Those are two other cities. And then also, in addition to Oregon becoming the first state to legalize psychedelic mushroom, well, decriminalize psychedelic mushrooms, DC also voted to decriminalize psychedelic mushrooms.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I know on Tuesday, was it, I think it was 6 more states that legalized marijuana?
Five states.
5? Do you know which ones they were?
Yeah, I've got it over here. And some were medical. I think one was medical.
I think it was
Other-
Mississippi was just medical.
That's right. Yeah. So Mississippi was.
FYI, Lake has some great cannabis names.
Thank you.
Nice.
I think that's some great. Mary Jane Domains, isn't that it? Mary Jane Domains.
Right, MaryJaneDomains.com.
You got some awesome names there, homie.
Thank you. I've built a pretty big portfolio. I started with cannabis and branched out to different types of plant medicines, including mushrooms and psilocybin. The 5 states were Arizona, Mississippi, Montana, New Jersey, South Dakota.
Wasn't it on the news recently about Oregon, about legalizing some really weird stuff? They've
decriminalized small possession for small ampoules of hard drugs. Surprisingly, believe it or not,
very hard
cocaine,
ones.
heroin,
Exactly.
methamphetamines.
Hey, Laith, where are you located?
I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. I moved here from the U.S. about a year ago.
Oh, really? From the U.S.? You moved from the U.S.?
Right. I lived in Atlanta, Georgia, for about 20 years. Here in Canada, there's a big push to legalize plant medicines. There was a petition to collect, I believe it was 10,000 signatures to get it in front of Parliament here. That's like on a nationwide level, but if I'm not mistaken, the province of British Columbia, or maybe it's the city of Vancouver. From what I understand, City Council is supporting the decriminalization of plant medicines such as psilocybin mushroom, psychedelic mushrooms, and things are this was Canada was the first. What is it, G7, G5? I always get it confused. Country to legalize cannabis. I think that was back in November of 2018.
I think aren't we still the only one that has it on a federal level? Like the state still isn't legal.
Right.
Right. I'm trying to think in Europe. What are their G7s? It's Italy. I don't think so. Germany, maybe. It's France, UK, and Japan are the other ones. I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I don't consume. I just buy the domains, so I don't. but that's why. But that's why I always ask, because it's important. Like the larger the market, the more potential end users for our domains, right? So,
exactly. Yeah, and it's just a matter of time before it's legalized on a federal level in the U.S. And so there's going to be more demand for cannabis-related domains for sure.
Yeah.
But in Canada, you can't grow your own. It's similar to Washington State, so it's much more commercialized in Canada. It's not.
I think for personal use, I don't know if it's applies.
Yeah,
here
we can grow, but I think it's 4 plants. I think it is.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what scale that is to resell or not, but I don't think it's that much. But it's also a little bit different in each province. And that's the one thing, like in Quebec, it's distributed, like you can grow for personal use, I think up to 4 plants, just like that. But otherwise, it's distributed by a provincial agency. So, which as a domainer is no good, because it just means it's one domain name, like one brand, right? So in Ontario, in the province of Ontario, I think there are individual outlets. But again, it's all coming into play now, and I think edibles was supposed to become legal. I don't know if they already had or not.
They did in October.
Did it go through with COVID and all that stuff? It went through anyways, because we didn't hear anything about it.
They've got here in Vancouver and the dispensaries, the stores, they have wide variety of different edibles.
Okay. Yeah, so I haven't seen any of that here yet, but again, like I don't know. But
I know.
For those of you who don't know, Vancouver is like the Denver of Canada. Like it's where most of the consumption. I mean, it's everywhere, right? But I mean, it's just Vancouver is probably equivalent to Denver in terms of, you know, it'll be on the leading edge of anything cannabis related. So you probably know more than I do. But sorry, what were you saying, Laith?
Yeah, no, yeah, I love it here in Vancouver. I've been visiting here for the past 20 years, and I've always been liberal and progressive, open-minded here. Quite different than Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta's changing though.
Yeah. Apparently, for those watching the news lately. But yeah, no. So
well, you know, the entertainment industry has picked up there big time, and so there's a lot more of that shift to that kind of an attitude.
Yeah. But yeah, no. But going back to cannabis domains, I mean, it's just has anybody here, like Laith, you have a reasonable sized marketplace? Do you sell them regularly enough to notice a difference, like over time, or is it just a little bit more too random to?
And are you selling them regular enough too?
Yeah.
So I started domaining about 3 years ago. It became full time for me. Maybe it was about a year and a half ago. But initially, I wasn't investing in cannabis domains. I bought domains for many different industries. So now the majority of my portfolio is cannabis related, and things are trending up. Things are trending up in terms of sales for cannabis related domains, as well as inquiries and offers. But sometimes it's you know, you guys know how it is sometimes it's feast or famine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're a full-time domainer, you must be moving something.
I'm doing pretty good. some of these domains I consider are longer term investments, referring to like the domains related to psychedelics and plant medicines and shrooms. I see those domains increasing in value. You know, Oregon was the first state. Assuming things go well there, hopefully that'll be the model for other states to follow. And it's not just Oregon legalizing these plant medicines. There's a number of companies, publicly traded companies, that are working on producing therapeutic compounds and drugs derived from plant medicines. And so it's definitely gaining mainstream momentum. And I think I mentioned this on a previous conference that, you know, with everything going on in the world, you know, depression, anxiety, alcoholism, addiction, these plant medicines, there's a lot of science out there. There's clinical studies, and MDMA, which is commonly referred to as ecstasy.
LSD.
There's ketamine is another one, which has been on the market for many years. They found that this is an effective treatment for depression. So times are changing, and these plant medicines and the drugs derived from them are going to be helping a lot of people, but it's going to take some time.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, anybody watching YouTube, we don't know the science for sure, but I mean, it's more, I'm curious about how it works with domains. Like, do you find the domains that you sell, are they more brands for like people who want to open their stores, or is it more products for people who are developing like either?
Some are brandables, some are exact match domains, some of them are upgrades. It's all over.
Yeah. Anybody else here specialize in a specific niche? Not necessarily cannabis, but like.
I also have a portfolio, a couple hundred domains related to crypto and blockchain at cryptoblock.domains. Then I also have a small portfolio, about 100 domains related to wine.
That's not so small. How's that going?
Oh, I've sold one wine-related domain.
Oh yeah.
One, and I don't get many inquiries or offers for those domains, so I stopped buying and or hand registering any domains related to that industry. But the one sale that I got was a really good sale. It was purchased by the company. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. It's WINC.
What is it?
I think they raised, it's WINC out of California, and it's basically mail order wine. And they had raised, I think it's like 14 million in capital from investors. I sold the domain wonderfulwine.com for 9,500 and had a really good profit on that one.
Oh, that's nice.
I thought you were going to say you sold redwine.com.
Oh, yeah.
No, I saw that sold recently.
Yeah, pretty tasty price.
Read about that. You're right.
How high did it go?
What was it? I forgot the.
I think it was
Wasn't it
quoted
50 Bitcoin or something.
Whatever it was, the buyer is happy and the seller's not.
Okay.
The seller is not happy. Bitcoin is going up.
What's
No,
Bitcoin at now?
I'm sorry, the seller of the Bitcoin. So the purchaser. The purchaser spent, say it's $500,000 worth of Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
So say,
wow,
say it was 50 Bitcoin a month ago. Now he'd only have to spend 66 Bitcoin. So
I just checked. Bitcoin now is at 15.5K US.
Dang, yeah.
It's creeping up and creeping up.
Well, that's not creeping.
Didn't Shane just sell 123.io for 15 for Bitcoin at the 15 thing?
I think so, yeah.
For 15 Bitcoin?
No, 15. That's what, at the price of
Oh,
whatever
okay,
Bitcoin is.
okay. Yeah,
One Bitcoin. Yeah, right.
That would be a really nice sale. I mean, like 225K, 15, maybe a little bit more than that. 15.5, yeah.
But that's what's crazy about it is I don't see how it can ever be a currency because the volatility of it is so much that how could you ever keep your profits in it? I don't know.
Yeah, the volatility is dollar going up and down in relation to Bitcoin. It's not the reverse.
Right, good point. Well, assuming that Bitcoin continues to go up, there could be some opportunities in that space, and hopefully some of my crypto and blockchain related domains would increase in value, or maybe be more demand for those type of domains.
Yeah, for sure.
Speaking of Bitcoin, I think that I know that Epik, people can buy domains through Epik with Bitcoin. What are other options, and what are you guys and gals experience with any transactions involving Bitcoin?
Nada.
I mean, Dan will take Bitcoin too, I think. I know they'll pay me in Bitcoin, but they pay me in Bitcoin regardless of whether or not, however they were paid. So, but I think they will accept it.
Okay, that's good to know. And Dan is 9% on Bitcoin.
Yeah, well, it's 9% commission on no matter on any incoming sale that you don't provide the lead for ahead of time.
Yeah, otherwise I think it's 5.
What about Epic's commission on using Bitcoin as payment?
I don't think they charge anything extra over what their regular sale commission is.
Zero if you go to MasterBucks, but then you have your withdrawal fee out of the MasterBucks.
Do they charge a withdrawal fee on MasterBucks?
I don't think they do anymore. If they do, you can get around it by providing a name pros. If you do anything at Epik,
They're running late. It's going to be another hour.
If you do anything at Epik, make sure that they know that you're a member at Names Pro.
Yeah.
Even if you have to go join just to let them know.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't check you for activity, but you do get better prices and certain deals over there.
Yeah.
Does anybody happen to know if you could let's say I structure a deal so that there's a partial payment with Bitcoin, portion of the sales prices in Bitcoin. Does anybody know if you can use escrow.com for like a payment plan where it's X amount of Bitcoin up front and then X dollars per month over 12 months. Does anybody use escrow for any?
I don't even know if escrow accepts crypto. Does anybody here know that?
Well, what I was thinking, and I don't know if this would make sense, is maybe like have a transaction like broken down into two parts where they send me Bitcoin kind of like as a deposit or down payment, and then the remaining balance is payable US dollars through escrow.
I'm sure they could do that if they accept crypto. It's that second part I'm not sure of. I've never heard of anybody accepting crypto at escrow.com, but not that it's not a service they offer. I just don't know. Does anybody here know?
No, but what's interesting about Bitcoin is when you fund a transaction, when you agree on price and when you get your money, there could be a variance in what you get, either positively or negatively.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, in dollar amounts, you mean?
In dollar amounts, yeah. If you agree to sell the name for a certain unit amount of Bitcoin, then they fund the Bitcoin and it can be worth more or less. If you agree to sell the name for US dollars to be paid in Bitcoin, at the time that the payment's made, it just...
Oh, yeah, I know what you're saying, yeah.
It just creates, and with escrow where, you can start a transaction and then they have time to fund it, it just creates some interesting stuff,
Yeah, but that's a dynamic we have here too. Anywhere else but the U.S., I guess, where there's a different currency. Like, I mean, every transaction I have, I'm losing 3 or 4% just on the exchange rate, right? So, I mean, obviously, I always try to keep the bulk of my. I try to keep a reserve for renewals.
About the processing cost, I was talking about you don't have as much change in the daily value of the Canadian currency, where you could agree to sell it for 10,000 and the next day it could be 500, or it could be 10,500. The processing fee, irrespective of the processing fees, I don't think the loonie? I don't think the loonie moves them. The loon?
No, it doesn't move that much, but it's just that you by default I'm losing 3 or 4% on the exchange rate. So I'm saying maybe for some people they're willing to take the risk of not losing more than 3% on crypto in the time they make the transaction. Is there actually
how do you lose money on the exchange rate?
They charge a fee to exchange the money. All banks
right,
do that.
but since it's always going to be there, you can't really say you're losing money because there's no way to do it without the transaction fee, right?
Well, yeah, except that unless I just leave the money sitting where it is in US dollars, I use that money to pay my renewals over time and buy new domains with it. So that's one way of getting. I mean, it's getting around it, but it's not really. But you know what I mean. But when it is nice to get that, that extra 20-25% or whatever it is after the exchange on top of the asking price. That's what's great in Canada is like if I sell a domain for $3,000 at Afternic or whatever it is, I usually end up with like 3,000 and a little bit after the commission and after the exchange. So that's what's kind of fun sometimes. I mean, obviously the purchasing power is lower, but we already have it in our head that 3,000 is 3,000. So that's what's kind of fun. Like the sale, hopefully I'll close $3,000 US with Afternic. It'll be, what is it? I think it's net 2,400 US, but 2,400 US actually converts to just a little over 3,000, maybe 3,000, 3,100, 3,200 right now. So that's what's fun. For the rest of you Canadians, I think know the same thing. It's fun making those sales in USD. It sucks paying renewals in USD though. That extra
RF, get yourself a US dollar credit card.
Eh?
Get yourself a US dollar credit card.
Yeah.
Actually, what I would suggest, Arif, is going to a Canadian registrar. My favorite is Hexanet, and I use them and pay an exchange rate every time I renew because I'm in the US. But since you're there, it's a good registrar, and maybe you might want to move to them.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I like to have my stuff at two places, and one of them is always by default GoDaddy because that's where I buy most of my domains. So yeah, we'll see. Hexnet, you said? I've heard of them before. Never used them.
Yeah, hexanet.net.
What are the renewals there? Do you know?
It's really low. They have a, what do you call it?
Reseller program.
Reseller, that's exactly it, yeah. So it has to be a reseller. And talk to Patrick, who's the account rep there. He pretty much runs the place, and he's pretty good with matching prices places.
Do they, I guess they don't, do they have landers and stuff too, or no?
No, they don't, no.
Okay. Just a straight up registrar.
Yeah, right.
They don't have back orders as far as you know either.
They do actually, yes.
No, that's what I said. I said they don't have them as far as you know. Yeah.
No, they do have back orders, and they have them on the new Gs too.
Oh yeah, wow.
Mhm.
There's a topic we haven't talked about. Anybody here catching new Gs or looking through the expirations?
Yes.
Yeah, but Paige, you do everything. That's what's awesome about you.
Well, I still don't figure out when they drop, but if I put them on my Dyna watch list, it tells me if they're available. So I have to convince myself that even though no one else in the world wanted them, somehow I might. And usually that's enough for me not to buy them. But I will say, if we don't have any other topics going, I watched the Radix. They had like a registrar conference yesterday. And it was interesting to see a very successful company executing extremely well with, in my opinion, no need whatsoever for the aftermarket.
But I mean, because they have premium pricing, you mean, or?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're the domainers, basically.
What's that?
They've become the domainers. They took out the level for with premium domains. That's what it is.
It's envious because all they have to do is price things at a level that the end user wants them.
Yeah.
And they get the whole difference. They don't have to give it to us who stand in the middle.
Yeah.
And, they're doing a really good job.
Yeah, it sucks for us, but I mean it's a smart business move. That's what I would do if if I was in their shoes. I just yeah. So what else is up with everybody? I saw a couple of questions in the chat earlier on. I don't remember what they were, but feel free to bring it up.
Everybody hear about BuyDomains getting bought out?
No.
$3 billion.
Whoa.
Well, I mean,
they own some other things too.
Yeah, a couple other things you may have heard of, like Bluehost.
Constant Contact.
Okay.
HostGator.
Yeah.
HostGator too.
Huge Domains is owned by Bluehost?
No,
Or-
BuyDomains.
Yeah, BuyDomains. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Huge
It's
Domains.
all Endurance International.
I didn't know.
I think they own like 3 or 4 hosting companies.
Yeah, mydomain.com and domain.com and
They're up for sale right now, Endurance, huh?
so they sold.
They
Oh, they
sold
did?
this week.
Oh, it went? Oh, okay.
Wait,
The
was it a
old
private
Black
investor or?
Clearwater Capital bought them for $3.1 billion, including money that they owed.
Wow.
So it's great business.
Yeah. I mean, I know. Well, when Josh is there, but when Josh was doing a show every day, that was they were consistently in the top 10 of sales. 2-3 domains sometimes every day.
Yeah, it's
because GoDaddy wasn't reporting, but
I think often more than that. I hadn't realized this. Michael posted something on NamePros. It's they're scraping all that data from their homepage. It's because they list their sales on their homepage as opposed to directly reporting it to NameBio. But yeah, you're right. Almost every day there's like 5 to 10 above $1,000.
yeah, I think actually, yeah, I remember it might even be a little bit more than that. But they price their domains to sell too, right? Like there's most of their sales are in that like 2,000 to 3,000 range, I think it is.
And they buy like a domain or two.
Even less sometimes, I think.
If you go to their site, they actually have some less, but it appears they only put them on name bio above a certain price, I think.
Okay, yeah. Over 1,000, I think. No.
I think it is 1,000 now. It was a little bit different a year. There's been a
Okay.
slight change over the years. I know when I was looking at multi-years, I noticed that what was reported under BuyDomains changed.
Yeah, but it could also be that they don't sell anything below that. I've never checked their site, but
They do have some price below that. Like they have almost all theirs priced. And one day I spent a while just going through their inventory. So they must, I would think, be selling some, but I guess not reporting them if the price is below 1,000.
yeah, I guess not. They don't want to. Which is good. I mean, we never want to share. We only want to share the good sales, right? But
it's not like Sedo that only like report the, what is it, 2,000 up, I believe.
I don't know.
So clearly there's a lot of sales being made that aren't reported, but BuyDomains seem to have a fantastic inventory. I find they often have great domain names that are listed in those sales and not that aggressively priced.
That's the old Mike Mann portfolio, right?
Yeah, he sold it.
Do they still acquire domains? Like that was an old sale, right? That was like, we're talking 15 years ago or something like that.
No, they buy like domainers. They're one of the few.
Okay.
They buy like domainers. You're competing against them with, every day.
Like huge domains. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So, Paige, are they just in the auctions like at GoDaddy, just like huge domains is?
Kind of, but they're super cheap.
Okay.
Yeah,
Do we
but
know
they
their
are.
bidder number?
I don't think they chase at all. And I don't think they do a lot of GoDaddy auctions.
I
Okay.
think they buy portfolios also.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, just that you can definitely, when you scale up to a certain size, you can definitely take advantage of that. Yeah, a nice size marketplace.
Well, Mike Mann's names got bought. The best of them got picked off relatively early from BuyDomains, and now they've got his more of his second tier inventory up there. But they used to sell from their own portfolio much more so than they sold on behalf of third parties back when they were with Afternic. So
Okay.
it was a conflict there.
I thought they bought Mike Mann's portfolio.
Yeah.
Mike Mann, since we started,
He
from
sold
scratch.
it. He sold it to them. Well,
But they owned Afternic for a while.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I think Mike had a change in family status and had to liquidate his assets for the settlement.
Kind of, but not really. I thought he sold them to BuyDomains on a deferred payment, and then they ended up having to come to some type of deal where I think he got a bunch of them back and they kept some. But that might not be true. That's hearsay.
Yeah. Well, I'm just curious. They were still buying, but
I mean, they tried to go public by themselves as Name Media. Just didn't quite get it done. And then they got caught up in the whole parking thing a little bit, but they almost got public. I still got some Name Media swag around.
So glad they're gone.
They were good sponsors of the different shows. They brought some. They brought some.
I don't
good
have any of that stuff anymore. I don't know if I've Name Media. I don't remember. That was way back though, wasn't it? Paige?
I don't know the difference between way back and way back, but yeah, probably way back. You're right.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, 2000 or so, or 2001 or 2 or something like that.
Maybe 2006 up till the Great Recession, whatever.
They had a bulletin board chat site for suggestions for Afternic users. And Afternic users kept suggesting ways to improve their site and their service, and Afternic or Name Media would never respond, and their only response was to shut down the bulletin board site. Like, that's gonna fix everything.
Yeah, I will say I think that they were disingenuous when they would say things like, "We're operating Afternic for the benefit of all the sellers." All the good stuff they did for them, and they did not do for everybody else. So I would agree with that. With them, what they did with the chat room, because that's why it was a bummer when they went from bad to worse when they sold Afternic to GoDaddy. But what do you do?
Yeah.
You wait.
One of these days, GoDaddy will have a functioning platform with all the options we want. One day. One day.
One day.
Wait, what was it? Is it way in the future or way in the future?
When pigs fly backwards using their tails.
Yeah. Wind them up.
There's an expression in Arabic, fil mishmish, which means when the apricots bloom. The apricots never bloom. Well, in some places.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I mean, you guys all know my frustrations with GoDaddy, and it's just
Is.com available?
Hey guys, what are we talking about? I just heard apricots.
Flying pigs and Afternic.
Oh,
is their mesh available? The moosh, the mesh, the moosh.
Phil Mishmish, she asked me when I was going to marry her, and I told her when the apricots bloom, and she walked me around town to show me an apricot tree that was in fact blooming.
So, did you marry her?
Yeah.
Wow. Your word's no good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. What else is going on, guys?
I had my first had my first squad. Sorry, had my first squad help sale this week. So
oh, nice.
So I now have sold it Brand Bucket, Brand Pa, and Squad Help. So I guess that makes me like the brandable trifecta is what that is.
Yeah.
Which one's your best sale?
What was the third one?
Brand Pa.
Oh, Brand Pa.
Yeah.
Was it a white label or is it like on their marketplace?
That was a premium. It's 12 payments. I've gotten the first one, which means I've covered the cost of the domain, so I don't mind sharing. It was sopublic.com, sopublic.com.
Oh,
that's so public.
You know who it went to?
No idea.
No.
But $27.99.
That's true.
Good.
Good for you.
Minus 30%.
Yeah, of course. So it's 12 payments of 163. So.
The irony! You can't tell us who bought So Public.
Private sale.
Private sale on So Public. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, there may be a way for me to tell.
So Public.
It took me like 3 days to realize I had to request the payment.
Oh, it's still on Squad Help. It's still.
Does it say?
It says recently sold. Recently sold.
Well, does it stay on there until you've received your final payment?
I'm sorry?
Does it stay on there as a lander until you receive your final payment, or do they take it right away? Or they don't start using it right away, do they?
Well, I think they probably would.
No, they can use it.
Yeah.
Just like if they buy it anywhere.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I transferred it to Squad Help's escrow account, and I'm sure they'll set the name servers to whatever the customer wants, the buyer.
Yeah, that's the thing is that a lot of these $2,000-$3,000 sales they never get built out. I know a lot of my sales haven't. I'm very thankful.
You mentioned payments. I had an interesting thing happen this week with Dan. My last sale was above 2,000 with Dan. So apparently, if they want to pay you via PayPal and it's above 2,000, they charge a fee. Anyone else run into that?
Actually, I think I ran it because I had wire transfer information in there.
Right.
On mine, when it goes above 2,000, they wire it to me.
Well, they wanted, so I changed my settings to wire it, but then I sold the name for $100 payment, and I got that wired, meaning I had to pay an incoming wire fee of $30 to receive $80. So safety
$80.
tip. But if I think what you're saying is I maybe could have chose PayPal as my payment method, but also have put in my wire instructions. And then maybe that, you know how Sedo has that thing where you can say above a certain amount, ACH, and if not, pay it with PayPal. Does anyone else have any tips on that?
Yeah, there's a preferred button just to say pay with PayPal, which I think has a $2,500 threshold, and then they automatically go to your bank wire transfer information.
Gotcha. So what I should have just done is I shouldn't have changed the setting to say pay by wire transfer. I should have just put my wire transfer information in, hit save, and then they would have it for when it's over.
Yeah, click PayPal, and then it'll default to that until the threshold, and then that'll automatically wire it to you, and then your bank will gouge you for the fee.
Paige, you may want to send them a text support chat just to confirm my experience. But because everybody's mileage may vary, but that's what happened to me is if it goes above 2,000, which I think you said is what they told you the threshold was, they default to wire for my account.
Because somehow I thought when I changed the setting to PayPal, it got rid of all the information. But I'm going to go back and look because I see my mistake wasn't putting in the wire information. It was thinking I had to change it for them to pay me via wire, whereas they just would have paid me via wire, even though my setting was PayPal because it was over that amount. So I appreciate that, guys.
Yeah, and I think they made a blog post recently that they're going to be able to do ACH because we had some issues with a small, kind of a dedicated local bank here. And the intermediary wire transfer bank coming from Europe. And then we wound up having to use TransferWise, which just had delayed it, which isn't a huge deal. But, when you've got 5 figures outstanding and you're waiting on it and you're checking the bank every day, it gets a little unnerving.
I'm the same as you. That's why I keep a Bank America account for solely that reason, to receive international wires. Because same as you, I have a local bank that uses a corresponding bank, and the whole thing. And
we eventually got it figured out, what I had to put in to get the wires routed correctly. But we did the TransferWise added a day or two for a few transactions, and then we got it figured out. But one time I kind of did what you did, and I accidentally left it set on wire, and we got a smaller wire in. It wasn't the end of the world, but it wasn't $100, and we had to pay a fee. It was like $400 or $500, and they didn't charge us. And I don't think, this is my partnership. Well, I actually have an account there for myself now, but at the time, it's the bank that my partner uses for everything, and they pretty much will bend over backwards for him. So I don't think you're charging him on the wires. But yeah, supposedly I noticed some different fields in the wire transfer details the other day, and a blog post saying that they were establishing a U.S. presence or something so they could do ACH, which I think is probably a little easier.
Yeah, that would be great.
We really have to put that into our accounting. Dan's 9%, which is beautiful, but I've got a few domains that have sold at 2,500. If they're at 12 payments, it's $240 a payment. But when you look in your account, because of the incoming fee, it becomes $204. That's $36 times 12, $400 something dollars. It's an additional 15, 16% on top of the 9% of what we're selling our domain for.
if we are taking the payments. So what I've started doing, because I had a whole bunch of domains at 12 months or 24 months, is I've brought them all down in half, and I've cut them to 12 or 6 months. I even put some to 3 months, just so I don't have multiple $36 wire fees coming out, which increases the whole price to, you know, what, 25% that we're paying for a you know, a sale at Dan, if that makes sense to you guys.
Vito, so what's this extra fee you're talking about? Is it like if you're taking it by wire?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So it's the wire fee,
So
and when you add in the wire fee over a payment plan, then the total wire fees adds up to the point where it makes the commission like you're at Brand Bucket, basically.
Like you're 25%, because I mean, you know, 9% plus, I think 430 at 250 is like 15, probably 16, 17%.
Yeah.
So 16 plus 9 is basically 25%. You know, it adds up. You know, I'm still doing it, but I'm just saying I'm adjusting my portfolio to have lesser and lesser payments so that my percentage, the commission, is a lot less.
I got you.
For the fees.
Are you able to batch your payments? Like even if they're paying every month, can you set it up so you only get paid every 3 months or something?
I would love to know that. I would love to hold on to it until the whole thing's done and just get it in one wire or 2 wires or something.
Yeah, I've
never asked that question.
I don't think Dan's going to be able to do that. The only issue I've ever had with Dan was some idiosyncrasies in their payouts, not in amounts or getting paid, but, and I don't want to go into too much detail because it's something that could be exploited, but they got some funkiness in that area, and it's been better lately. But I wouldn't think I would want to be batching payments with them. They pretty much everything I get, like, I mean, I've got like 12 domains on monthly payments through Dan right now, and every single one of those comes to me separately. And it's, I mean, sometimes I have it on PayPal, sometimes I have it set to crypto, but they all come in separately, and they take their cut of the payment, so that if it stops halfway through, you know, unlike escrow.com, which takes theirs front loaded, you know, you only pay the commission on what you've received to that point, which is kind of a good thing.
I guess if you were selling in bulk, like I see BuyDomains is actually using Dan. So let's just say they're a power seller there, and you know, they probably sell 20 domains a month or better. You know, I would assume they probably work with someone like them. But for someone like, you know, a lot of us average guys, probably 2-3 sales lease to owns coming in per month. Yeah, I doubt they would be worth the all the extra accounting. But still, it's just something to keep in the back of your mind when you are selling domains for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. You know, you're losing 25% if you're doing, you know, 12 monthly payments, and you're getting a $36 fee per payment.
At Epik payment plans, do they get paid into your master bucks every month?
Robert, yeah, my very first payment plan, my first big sale was one that Rob handheld for me, and we saved it from the buyer just about walking away after having to deal with escrow.com. And yes, it was, it's master bucks every month. And we had a balloon payment. The balloon payments went to master bucks. I cashed them out, no problem. But that is how they're delivered. The payments are through Epik are delivered.
Yeah. They got a new name for that. But yeah, no, it's I mean, when I sold a domain to Rob through one of the competitions he ran at Name Pros last year for high 4 figures, and he put a cap on the dollar amount at Name Pros, but the domain, I told him, like, I'm not prepared to sell it for less than, you know, the amount in question wasn't what I was willing to sell. And so the difference, he said, well, I can give you the difference in master bucks. And I go, okay. So I ended up being, you know, several grand in master bucks. I got a larger portion in cash, but I got it in master bucks. And it ended up timing perfectly because it was a couple heavy months for renewals that was coming up. And they just started like their $6 transfer promotion for .coms. So I'm like, okay, it's like ended up being cash to me because and I'm saving money. So it was yeah, it was pretty simple to use. I don't know if I did transfer some of it out. I forget if I had any fees. I don't think so. I think it was just on my bank. I think I had like the transfer, maybe $20 or whatever it is from the bank. I don't
So MasterBucks is Epik?
Yeah, it's like their paper. It's been around for
No,
a
they
while.
used to have Epik Bucks. They
maybe long before.
Yeah, I mean, well,
MasterBucks
back
is at least
2010 at least. I mean,
oh yeah. I don't know. Yeah,
it used to be Epik Bucks.
Yeah. Wait, there was a discussion on Epik Bucks. I don't know if it was here or somewhere.
I think it was on one of the Tuesday socials. We talked about it.
Yeah, but it was.
I don't remember what it was though, because I wasn't around for those.
Yeah, nor was I. So I don't know how different that was, but no, it's just. I mean, Rob at Epik, he's got multiple things going on, right? I think MasterBucks is just. It's a way to. He wants to have the payment for everything. Like you use it at all these other things, whenever they get developed out. I don't know.
What's weird to me though is they have like credit, like you can have credit and MasterBucks, and I'm like, why not just combine the two concepts? Like if you get refunded for a back order, because their back orders are weird. If it gets re-registered like the day of, like GoDaddy will leave an open back order for you forever, but at Epik, when they see that it got registered and they didn't get it for you, they just refund it, but it goes to credit. And so then you've got a credit balance and you've got a MasterBucks balance. And I had a failed transfer, a canceled transfer on one of the accounts. It was at the old price of $6.49, and there's nothing you can buy for that I want now. And so I had to add $2 of credit from a debit card to get it up to enough to renew a domain, just so I didn't have that $6.49 sitting out there, because I'm way too OCD to see that $6.49 every day and be I want that gone. I want to use that. That's mine.
Yeah, and it's the same thing. Yeah, it's too bad you can't use it, like use that for the balance of a payment for something. But same thing with GoDaddy. GoDaddy too. You can't use, like, your parking turns into good as gold, they call it.
Yeah.
And you can't buy something, like if you have $10 good as gold and you want to buy something for $12, you can't. You can't use the $10 plus put $2 in your credit card. Same thing at Epik with your credit. It's got to be entirety of one thing. But I mean,
I got like $2.47 in good as gold at GoDaddy, and I'm like, just let me use. Just let me apply it to something.
Yeah.